Why is it so important to have the arts?
It's really a way to engage the whole brain.
Art can lift your spirit and open your heart.
You want to be tall enough to climb.
There you go.
The visual and performing arts, building a creative mind and keeping it sharp. A lifetime of involvement, a lifetime of reward.
Art surrounds us every day of our lives, in galleries, symphony halls, the books we read, the movies we watch, the music we dance to. We know the arts can be enjoyable, moving, exhilarating, thrilling, but there's so much more. They also play a central role in what it means to be human. And there's more and more evidence that they help grow healthy young minds and maintain them as we age. In this program, we'll bring you stories from around the country and hear from respected educators, scientists, and other experts to reveal the crucial impact of the arts on the human brain across our lifetime.
I want to understand how we become who we are. Why are we creative? What is the root of all of this creative behavior, and how does it happen biologically?
That's you. Yeah, here you are.
Dr. Charles Lim is one of a growing number of researchers using high-tech tools to investigate the art instinct. He's studying how creativity impacts the human brain.
Today's experiment is a different question. It's the question of what happens in your brain in an interactive musical conversation.
And creativity exists in almost every facet of life. There's a wide range of creative behaviors. I think that we can begin to study creativity scientifically, and we can learn some really unique, valuable insights. This research is really in its infancy. Right now, we have way more questions than answers.
Group, you can go to find a spot and go ahead and start. And in a group, you're going to tell a story with the sand. You can use the brushes.
It's with play that children first begin to use imagination and develop creative problem solving.
So what are you guys going to do for your story? Do you have any ideas? Think about it.
Tammy Smith is a teaching artist employed by PS Arts, a nonprofit that provides art classes for this California elementary school.
What happened to the parrot, Hanitze? Or is that story long gone? It feels good. It just really feels good, and anybody can do it. There's just something really magical about that feeling. It doesn't have to be a picture of anything. Once your hand or whatever it is hits the sand, it's making something, and just like that.
It's fun and games, sure, but it's also very important for child development. Producing things through art is an arena for thinking.
One of the key elements of the brain is its ability to transport in time. We can go back to our memories of the past, but we can also play out scenarios in the future.
You have any other ideas?
This ability then to have imaginative scenarios, what would happen if I did this or do that, is a big aspect of play.
And what's happening in this one?
But budget cuts and increased emphasis on test results means that the arts are being marginalized in public schools across the United States.
Teachers are completely overloaded. They are expected to be teaching toward the standardized tests, and they have not very many minutes during the day to teach it. Public education right now encourages kids to memorize information and be just like everyone else.
All right, guys, what do we got going on over here? I can keep their mind as open as possible. That's my goal. I really want them to still be kids and to explore and experiment and create. What did Einstein say? Imagination is more important than knowledge.
And I think what he meant when he said that was it's not the knowledge that you have, but it's what you can do with the knowledge. And doing with the knowledge comes directly through the creative spirit. We're going to use our creativity and our imaginations, and we are going to go absolutely wild and build the most amazing things you've ever seen.
We're supposed to make a sculpture out of it?
We're going to make sculpture, we're going to make towers, we're going to make buildings. This is about using physics and engineering principles It's about design. It's about using the creative process in a very unique way.
Is it kind of hard to make one of these?
No, it's real easy. There's no right or wrong here. Whatever you do is right. If it doesn't work, take it apart and put it back together. I need a small one.
The child is capable of anything. It's how we get in their way that kills their spirit. It's how we prioritize what is important and what's not important.
That's symmetrical.
I saw a lot of hard work. Did anybody run into any problems that were really difficult and you had to struggle to figure it out? Yeah.
The brain's complexity is driven by two fairly simple but powerful processes. The first is overproduction. There are way more connections formed than can possibly survive. And the second is war, or competitive elimination. This is a very dynamic process in the child's brain where there's so many new experiences.
When we are born, the brain's overproduction enables us to adapt to any circumstance. But maintaining so many neural connections is inefficient. As unneeded pathways are discarded, we rewire our brains for later life.
The second part of the 1-2 punch of overproduction and selective elimination is often referred to as pruning. The things that we do a lot, the brain will become optimized for those, and the connections that we don't use will wither and die. And this is what's driven by the use it or lose it principle. The arts provide this vehicle then for really focusing the development of the brain to tasks that will serve us very well in the years to come.
Game that's going to challenge somebody to show what they know about fractions.
Math is another of Avery's favorite subjects. There's anecdotal evidence to link a mastery of music with improved academic performance.
And you try to figure out the amount that you have.
She's a very gifted math student. I have to keep up with her. People who study music are usually very good in math. And I'm not sure if it's because they're studying music that they're good in math, or they're good at music because they're mathematically inclined, but there does seem to be a connection.
But scientific research has yet to validate this connection.
We actually do not have any evidence that mathematicians are more musical, nor is there any good evidence that when kids study music, they get better at mathematics. That doesn't mean it's not true, but it hasn't been proven.
Hey, Lexi, you ready to come do our study?
Psychologist Ellen Winter believes that much of the existing research focuses too narrowly on how art impacts the standardized curriculum.
We're going to have a seat at this round table here.
She and her colleagues have designed a multi-year study to research how abilities in art transfer to broader cognitive skills.
We're doing a project looking at what students learn when they learn to draw and paint. And this is a measure of how you learn to see things in your mind. So we're going to ask Jonathan to start, and what we want you to do is look at this still life here of a cup and a takeout Chinese food box, and we want you to draw it as realistically as you can.
I think we've been measuring the wrong things. When people look at whether the arts improve other skills in children, the typical thing they do is look at standardized test scores.
Okay, what I'd like you to do is draw the space that is created by what you see when his hand touches his head. Just that space, that's called...
I want to understand what kinds of broad habits of mind are taught when students learn an art form. People argue that we need the arts in schools because they do things for kids outside of the arts. They improve their math skills, they improve their academic skills. They're not focusing on the arts, they're focusing on what the arts can do for other skills that we supposedly value more.
For the teenagers who spend their summer at this Boston art space, art is what's important, not how it helps them in school.
Interesting. Why is it so important to have the arts? Well, why is it so important to have the sciences or the humanities? I think that the purpose of education is to help our children understand the greatest things that humans have done. And that's the sciences, the humanities, and the arts. And if you leave out the arts, you're leaving out 1/3 of the equation.
If your bow isn't on the D string, you're not getting ready the way you're supposed to.
That is so much better violins. Let's check in with the cellos.
I think because I played an instrument young, I became a very, very good student because I understood how to budget my time. I understood how to self-motivate. I think that's a problem for kids a lot of times. Also, I understood that, you know, life is not easy. You have to apply yourself consistently and over a long period of time.
That's good, Taylor.
Because of those opportunities associated with learning to play the violin, for me, I think it gave me a leg up in life. And I believe every child should have that opportunity.
And from the top, exaggerated even more.
I think that the arts encourage interaction between kids, and they encourage encouragement. The bulk of the other thing going on in school is language learning, mathematics, science, history, some of which is collaborative, but not very much. It's different in art.
It's not individual. It's not, oh, your spelling test you only got a 75% on. That doesn't work in the orchestra. It's the entire orchestra is being graded, so to speak, on the performance. And that's really a metaphor for society, that we can't let each other down. We have to be there for each other.
There's virtually nobody in this world that is not involved in the arts in some way, whether it be in making or in receiving.
When we see something creative, we can marvel at it and all recognize that was brilliant.
To me, art is an expression that moves you. It's an emotional experience.
Part of what art should also do is lift the spirit, open your heart, change the way you look at life.
If we allow that to happen, if we make that a part of our lives are going to be much, much richer.
At least 2,000 generations now separate us from the world's first artists. And across this expanse of time, the art instinct has remained at the heart of human endeavor.
Art always seems to give society as a whole a bigger and different vision of the world that we live in. It's part of what makes us what we are today.
And it will continue to define us for as long as humanity exists.